Let's talk about some features of adaptive immunity. What is the functional significance of specificity? The functional significance of specificity is ensuring that distinct antigens elicit specific responses. What is the functional significance of diversity? The functional significance of diversity is enabling the immune system to respond to a large variety of antigens. What is the functional significance of memory? The functional significance of memory is leading to enhanced responses to repeated exposures to the same antigens. What is the functional significance of clonal expansion? The functional significance of clonal expansion is increasing the number of antigen-specific lymphocytes to keep pace with microbes. What is the functional significance of specialization? The functional significance is generating responses that are optimal for defense against different types of microbes. What is the functional significance of contraction and homeostasis? The functional significance of contraction and homeostasis is allowing the immune system to respond to newly encountered antigens. What is the functional significance of non-reactivity to self? The functional significance of non-reactivity to self is preventing injury to the host during responses to foreign antigens. Why does memory occur? Memory occurs partially because each exposure to an antigen expands specific clones. Secondary immune exposures are usually more rapid, and at the conclusion of the infection, the adaptive response declines or contracts. However, long-lived memory cells will remain. Let's have a quick review now of innate and adaptive immunity. Let's consider innate and adaptive immunity. What would happen when a microbe is encountered within the first few hours? When the first few hours of a new microbe entering the body, we would see innate immunity take action. What would be some of the players in innate immunity? Some of the players in innate immunity would be epithelial barriers, phagocytes, complement, and NK cells. After innate immunity, when it comes into days, time after infection from 1 to 5 days, we would have adaptive immunity. What would be the players in adaptive immunity? The players here would be B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes. What would be the result of B lymphocytes? The result of B lymphocytes would be antibodies. What would be the result of T lymphocytes? The T lymphocytes would make effector T cells. Now let's have one more review of the innate and adaptive immunity, the two components of the immune systems. What are the two components? We have the innate and the adaptive. Describe the innate system. The innate system is the first line of defense. It is nonspecific. The players here are phagocytes, blood proteins, and cytokines, plus complement. Describe a summary of the adaptive. The adaptive would include a specific response with memory, lymphocytes of B and T cells, and there are two types of response: humoral with antibodies and cell-mediated with T cells. What would be one of the first responses when a bacteria breaches the skin barrier? One of the first responses might be inflammation. Describe the basic process in phagocytosis. The bacterium would enter the phagosome through receptors, and the phagosome would then encounter a lysosome, and then that would become a phagolysosome. Then through exocytosis, soluble debris would be taken out. And later we will see how some of the antigen is presented in order to present to other cells in order to increase immunity. Let's discuss now how the innate system links up with the adaptive system. So just as a basic summary, we can say that the foreign microbe that has antigens on it would enter the macrophage, which then ingests the antigen, and the antigens are then presented on the outside of the cell, and it is then called an antigen presenting cell. It would then present to the T cell. The T cell would then present clones. What are some examples of T cell clones that can be produced? As a result of the antigen presenting cell presenting to the T cell then may present one of 4 main types of cells. They would be killer T cells, which directly destroy antigens, helper T cells, which stimulate T and B cells, suppressor T cells, which inhibit T and B cells, and memory T cells, which remember antigen for future encounters. What is the name for T and B cells that have not yet encountered antigen? T and B cells that have not yet encountered antigen are said to be naive. Once T cells and B cells are activated by an antigen or other stimuli, they then contribute to the adaptive immunity, humoral and cell-mediated. Okay, here's a very simple MCQ. Which of the following is a component of innate immunity? A. Specificity. B. Memory. C. First line of defense. D. Humoral immunity. Of course, the answer here is C. First line of defense. One more easy MCQ. Which of the following is a component of innate immunity? A. B cells. B. T cells. C. Neutrophils. D. Red blood cells. Of course, the answer here is neutrophils. One more easy MCQ. Memory is a characteristic of which component of the immune response? A. Innate immunity. B. Adaptive immunity. Of course, the answer here is adaptive immunity. Now let's discuss cells and tissue.